Coming up on WUFT's First at 5, a final decision on preserving the historic Thelma Bolton Center. The new plan by city leaders to keep the center from being torn down.
And a new tribute for a local civil rights leader, what the city of Gainesville has in store to honor the late Charles Chestnut III. AG, what's going on for weather?
Warm weather will take us into the weekend, but big changes are coming. I'll tell you more about the cooler temperatures and high rain chances on the way.
5. From the University of Florida's College of Journalism and Communications, you're watching WUFT News.
We thought we knew what commissioners had in store for the Thelma Bolton Center, but plans have changed yet again. This is First at 5 from WUFT News. I'm Serra Sowers.
And I'm Sandra McDonald. Commissioners have now decided to renovate the center rather than the restoration they approved back in April. WUFT's Jacob Sedesse is live at the center with a recap of the commission's decision.
Still seems set on getting these locked doors open once again, but it may not be in the way that we all initially thought. Now, commissioners voted 4-3 to allocate $1.5 million to what they call a renovation of this center. This replaces the previous plan to allocate almost $6 million to what was called a partial restoration. In dissent for the new plan, Mayor Harvey Ward, along with Commissioners Raina Sacco and Casey Willits, they say the estimated cost of the renovations is just not realistic anymore. They fear the building will continue deteriorating and that they'll find more problems than they know of even now. On the other hand, proponents of the new plan say the renovations will get the center back open sooner and allow the wild spaces and public places money to go elsewhere. Now, members of the public spoke out, and they spoke out hard about a plan that commissioners had previously floated to demolish part of this building. And while we may not know if the renovations are going to pan out the way that the commissioners are hoping, what we do know is that advocates for this center may have reason to celebrate. Live in Gainesville, Jacob Sedesse, WUFT News.
And the Ocala Police Department teamed up with the Marion County Sheriff's Office for a 4-day sex sting operation. 6 men were arrested, including a teacher. During the operation, investigators say they went to several of the men's homes that were identified by the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. The organization said that suspects might be in possession of child abuse material. One of the suspects, Michael Kozarowski, was identified as a teacher and volleyball coach at Eustis Middle School. All the suspects are facing child pornography charges.
And 3 Levy County students are recovering after deputies say they overdosed on a drug while riding the bus to school. According to deputies, the 3 students had taken a near-fatal amount of drugs before arriving to school Thursday. 2 of them had to be revived by the school resource officer and paramedics, according to officials. They say the students were taken to a local hospital where they will be further treated. Students at the scene were checked, but none of them reported symptoms of exposure.
And parts of your weekend will be unseasonably warm, but the hotter temps won't stick around for very long. UF forecaster AG Cornell is tracking the next cool down.
Yep, that's right. We will be seeing some warm weather tomorrow, but let's take a look at our live cam today in Crystal River. You can see some clouds up on the horizon, and there might be some rain in them too. Temperatures are mild at 69 degrees, but let's take a look at our radar. We can see that we might be seeing some storms coming through Gainesville later this evening. Our temperatures right now are hovering right about the high 60s, 69 degrees in Gainesville, 69 also in Jacksonville. Later this evening, we'll see our temperatures rising or going down and then getting a little colder with some chances of rain. Coming up, we'll show you that there might be some high humidity, a cold front, and wet weather, and what that can do to your weekend.
It's the second day of Hanukkah, and despite the war raging between Hamas and Israel and the rise in anti-Semitism here at home, members of the Jewish community say they are not letting their faith waver. WUFT's Loren Miranda is live in the newsroom with more on the heightened emphasis put on the holiday.
That's right. I spoke with a rabbi and 2 Jewish students, and in spite of the circumstances, Hanukkah is still worth celebrating.
Signs defaced in an act of hatred. UF Chabad security footage shows the potential suspect in the act. A sight UF Chabad co-founder Hani Goldman was shocked to see after Thanksgiving.
This vandalism is done in order to sow fear in the heart of Jewish people.
This act of hate is another in a string of hate crimes the University of Florida has seen since the Israel-Hamas conflict began. The Alpha Epsilon Pi fraternity had its I Stand with Israel banner slashed last month. Although these hate crimes have the Gainesville Jewish community hurting, Goldman believes in the strength of the community.
We are going to have as many and even more programs and classes and places, events that you could attend so that you could connect, because one of the best antidotes to this fear and to this anger and to this violence is to come together.
Jewish student Eli Zamak feels sadness.
You have to see it coming a little bit, but you also just got to stay on your toes. It's scary, but yeah, I mean, as a student, a Jewish student, it can be overwhelming.
Fellow Chabad member Matthew Lyons recognizes the importance of unity.
We've seen this before, unfortunately, many times throughout history and very recently. But I think it's very important for us to continue to push what we feel is right and what we know is right, and stand with each other, stand as one united Jewish people.
It's that connection rooted in their faith that allows them to persevere through what they describe as a challenging time.
Sorry about that, guys. We'll get the right package in just a moment.
Dixie County deputies suspect foul play after they identified the remains of a man 6 years after he was reported missing. The remains belonged to Richard Rick Elton and were found by a hiker near Gorton Springs in January of last year. Investigators say he was last seen by his wife late April 2017, just before their house caught fire. They determined the cause of the fire to be arson. Dixie County Sheriff's is offering a $10,000 reward for more information on the case.
And 3 people were hurt after a head-on collision in Marion County. The accident happened on County Road 326 Thursday afternoon. Deputies found 3 cars badly damaged from the crash, and pictures released by the Marion County Fire Rescue show one of the drivers being freed from their car by the jaws of life. One driver is at a local trauma center. The other 2 were not badly injured. Florida Highway Patrol is investigating what caused the crash.
The city of Gainesville is honoring the late Charles Chestnut III by naming part of a road in his honor. Gainesville City Commissioners approved a resolution to designate a part of 8th Avenue to be named after Chestnut between Northwest 6th Street and Waldo Road, where the Chestnut family business sits. The former civil rights leader passed away earlier this week. City leaders say he helped integrate Gainesville businesses in the 60s and was the first black member to be elected to the Alachua County School Board. City Commissioner Cynthia Chestnut expresses her thanks to the commission and, quote, "Words cannot truly express my appreciation to my colleagues, but also appreciation from the Chestnut family for this beautiful tribute and honor to my husband and the keeper of the dream, Charles S. Chestnut III. The sign changes are expected to be finished by December 15th. And coming up on WUFT's First at 5, the resilience of a dog against adversity.
The story of a pet who found its way back home right before the holidays begin.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
Welcome back. This holiday season, even neighborhood pets are receiving Christmas miracles. WUFT's Jared Teitel is live in the studio to talk about one Gainesville dog's survival of some life-changing events.
Yes, Sarah, as a young pup, Skeeter survived a vicious dog attack, leaving him one leg short. But now an old yeller, he hopped all the way home after an unprecedented escape earlier last month.
No match for his mobility. In the early morning hours of November 11th, Skeeter suddenly escaped from his backyard in southeast Gainesville. A disciplined dog, his owner 26-year-old Dylan Boatner, says Skeeter's disappearance came as a shock.
I think he manages to get around great. He doesn't appear to have too many mobility issues.
With just notebook paper and a Sharpie marker, Boatner stapled dozens of signs describing Skeeter across the area. After 48 hours, Boatner's efforts were rewarded with a Facebook message at 8 a.m. Monday, November 13th. Skeeter was found resting in a creek near Depot Park, just feet from his home.
Now below me is the creek Skeeter was found in, where he was seen shaking from the cold temperatures. Upon his discovery, he was taken to a small animal hospital at Southwest 16th Avenue, where he was luckily found without injury when Boatner came to pick him up.
Keeping a close eye on Skeeter ever since, Boatner says he vows one thing.
I'll never underestimate him. He can get farther than you think, and definitely going to keep a better eye on him and make sure that he can't do this again, and he definitely won't.
Boatner said he took Skeeter in after the passing of his grandmother last January. If the two weren't attached at the hip before, I think it's safe to say they definitely are now. Reporting live in the newsroom, Teitel, WUFT News.
Ben Hill Griffin Stadium is getting closer to a new makeover. The UF Athletic Department has selected a design team to help formally develop renovation and construction. Crawford Architects will work to advance plans and concepts to modernize the fan experience while preserving the history of the stadium. You're taking a live look now at the stadium, where plans are in the works to upgrade the concourses, seating concession areas, video boards, and sound systems. The project is expected to cost around $400 million. Crawford will work with a construction management firm on having the entire project team in place by January.
And the Gainesville Police Department and Alachua County Sheriff's Office are teaming up to make sure drivers stay responsible this holiday season. Starting December 11th to the 15th, officers and deputies will be patrolling select areas in the county. You should expect to see them at any time of the day. They will make sure you're being lawful while staying behind the wheel, like wearing your seatbelt and driving the speed limit, and they will also aim to educate pedestrians and cyclists alike to be watchful on the road.
I'm taking a look at a cold front that might be bringing some severe weather to Gainesville this weekend. More on this cold front and how it'll affect you after the break.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
Taking a look at our campus cam over the Ben Hill Griffith Stadium, you can see those continued clouds, which might have some rain in them. As we jump ahead for the rest of the evening, we'll definitely see our temperatures drop, but we do have a chance of rain, so if you're heading out later tonight, you might want to bring your umbrella with you. As we go through the rest of the evening, we'll see our overnight temperatures are dropping into the upper 50s, 58 degrees in Gainesville, 59 in Jacksonville. As we go into tomorrow, let's take a look at our muggy meter. We will definitely see our humidity rising throughout Saturday and then sharply dropping on Sunday with the onset of the cold temperatures. Monday, our humidity is pretty comfortable. As we go ahead to plan our weekend, we'll see that our temperatures are rising on Saturday with a chance of fog in the morning. Sunday, however, things are shaken up a little bit with a cold front that might bring some severe thunderstorms. Take a look at our cold front as it comes through, pushing those storms to our area, followed by our cooler weather. Here we go. See our 7-day outlook. We'll see that we're definitely warming up tomorrow, but we're cooling down on Sunday with those potentials for severe thunderstorms. Take a look at the 20-degree drop between Sunday and Monday. However, as we go through the rest of the week, we'll see our temperatures steadying out about in the mid-60s. Back to y'all.
Thanks, AG. Coming up in sports, it's state championship weekend in high school football. One of the 3 local teams that made the trip to Tallahassee has already found its way to the crown. We'll have a recap of 2 local football programs' championship performances, as well as a preview of a championship bout coming up next in sports.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
Welcome to sports. I'm Rafael de los Santos. Today is the day, the culmination of every practice and walkthrough, each snap of that football that gave these young men the opportunity to represent their city, county, and school. It's high school football state championship weekend in Tallahassee. WUFT's Daniel Haviv is live at Bragg Memorial Stadium. Daniel, what a day it's been for North Central Florida football.
Yeah, Rafael, tonight the Bradford Tornadoes will clash with the Cocoa Tigers in the 2S state championship game. And they aren't the only ones in action today. Trinity Catholic lost 31-27 in a heartbreaker to Cardinal Mooney in the 1S state championship game.
The game opened up with the Celtics marching down the field on their very first drive and scoring a touchdown to take the lead. But Cardinal Mooney came right back at them and scored 3 straight touchdowns to go up 21-7 early in the first half. The Celtics did not quit. They shifted the momentum of the game with a tipped interception by junior defensive lineman Zach Johnson to put them in scoring position. The offense turned that pick into a touchdown, and then a few minutes later, another touchdown to tie things up at 21 heading into the half. Coming out the break, the Cougars kicked a field goal to take a 3-point lead, but just on schedule, Trinity would come right back and respond with a field goal of their own to tie things up. The defenses stepped up for the majority of the second half, and then chaos began. The Celtics would kick a 49-yard field goal to take a 27-24 lead with 1:10 remaining. Cardinal Mooney came right back at them as junior receiver Chris McCorkle caught a 50-yard touchdown to give the Cougars the lead with less than a minute remaining. Trinity had one last drive to win the game. It came to a last-second heave down the field, which was almost caught but ruled an interception, which sealed the title victory for the Cougars. While Trinity Catholic head coach John Brantley says the loss is disappointing, he acknowledges the fight it took to get to the final game.
As I've said all week, here's a team that went, 3-7 in the regular season. Granted, very tough schedule. Coaches, players, they didn't quit the whole year. They believed in what we were doing because we challenged our kids at Trinity to keep a group like that and understand that there's a plan. I mean, 3-7, it's easy to quit. And our kids understood the process and hung in there with us all year. So I can't say enough about our kids. I'm very proud of them.
Trinity Catholic finishes the year 6-8, and we're just a minute away from a state title.
And we are now close to 2 hours away until kickoff for the Bradford-Cocoa matchup. The Tornadoes will look to cap off their undefeated season by avenging last season's semifinal loss to Cocoa.
Bradford comes into tonight with a defense that has allowed more than 13 points only one time this season. They've shut out 6 opponents, and their offense averages a staggering 208 rushing yards a game. Now, Cocoa, on the other hand, is throwing for close to 260 passing yards per game, and their sole loss this season was by 1 point back in September.
Kickoff for tonight's championship game is set for 8 p.m. Reporting live from Tallahassee, Daniel Haviv, WUFT News.
Thanks, Daniel. It's official. The Hawthorne Hornets are back-to-back state champions. But beyond the confetti and rings, this victory is one rooted in family. WUFT's Chris Will continues our team coverage from Tallahassee.
Hawthorne Hornets head coach Cornelius Ingram was very blunt with me in the postgame. He said he will absolutely take an ugly win in the state championship, especially over the Madison County Cowboys. And that's exactly what they did as they walk away with their second straight state championship after pulling out the 22-13 win. It was a cool 50 degrees at kickoff in Tallahassee. Perfect weather for some high school football. Except
in my 9 years of coaching, I think that first half was one of the worst first halves I've been a part of as a coach.
That's the reaction you get from a head coach when his quarterback throws 3 interceptions in the first half, especially when that guy is his son.
3 interceptions in the first half is not normal at all. That's terrible.
Regardless, a big defensive breakup by Zion Johnson in the end zone. He certainly let the Madison County receiver hear about it, kept the game tied early, and the Hornets went into the break tied 13-13.
Character. These guys never give up. I'll take them in the foxhole with me any day of the week.
And after a scoreless third quarter, it all came down to the final frame. With the Cowboys backed up into their own end zone and needing to punt their way out, a high snap gets the Hornets to safety and the 15-13 lead. Hawthorne would get stopped at the goal line on the following possession, but the Hornet defense showed up yet again. A Cowboy fumble in the end zone recovered by Hawthorne for the touchdown would put the game away 22-13.
Right, and you're talking about being one of the top football programs in the entire state, and I get to coach it at the school I graduated from. Awesome feeling. Not too many coaches have this feeling.
A state championship title for the Hornets and a lifelong memory for Coach Ingram and his 2 sons, Kyler and CJ.
We knew it was bound to happen sometime, but I'm just very thankful to have both of them by my side, because when you go to work with them, it's not even work no more, you're just having fun. But to get a state championship with my 2 boys, best feeling in the world, ever.
Up next for Hawthorne quarterback CJ Ingram is the basketball season where they made the Final Four last year. And then after that, they'll look to make it 3 in a row on the football field. Reporting from Tallahassee, Chris Will, WUFT News.
One final note, the same 2 programs topping the 2023 NCAA Championships team final hold those same positions in the 2024 Women's Collegiate Gymnastics Association preseason poll. Defending NCAA champions Oklahoma is number 1, followed by Florida at number 2, rounding out the top 5.
What an exciting weekend in sports.
Isn't it? And it still seems to be chilly outside of the studio, AG. Should I grab my jacket before we leave?
You might want to grab it tonight, but definitely not tomorrow. Our high temperature is 80 degrees, but it won't stick around. We've got a cold front coming through on Sunday. That is going to drop our Monday temperature to 58.
Wow. What a chilly temperature. Thank you, AG. We'll have that Hanukkah story that we had earlier in the show for you at WUFT.org.
We're signing off for the semester, and we want to thank you for watching.
And from all of us here at WUFT News, happy holidays.